You may not notice it at first, but there is a subtle rhythm to the way you perceive things around you. A slight shift in your awareness, a quiet nudge in your focus, and suddenly the world responds in ways that feel almost imperceptible. Consider for a moment the idea that observation itself isn't passive. It is a participant in the unfolding of what you notice, something in the environment, in the interactions you have, even in your own thoughts, is influenced by the simple act of attention. And yet, this influence is rarely dramatic, rarely overt. It slips in quietly, like a shadow moving along the edge of your perception, waiting to be acknowledged. You might have experienced it without naming it. Perhaps you've found that when you truly watch a conversation, you sense a shift in tone before words are spoken. Or when you pause and notice the patterns in your daily routines, small changes begin to appear. This is not magic, nor is it a result of extraordinary effort. It is a natural response to observation, a gentle but real feedback loop that exists wherever awareness meets the world. The subtlety of this response is what often makes it invisible. Most people pass through their days without ever recognizing these quiet adjustments. But you, by simply paying attention, may already be noticing them in ways too small to measure, yet significant enough to influence your experience. At its essence, awareness functions like a lens. The focus of your attention shapes what comes into view. When you notice something, even slightly, you change the dynamics around it. The response may not be immediate or dramatic, but over time, patterns shift. A conversation may take a slightly different course. A decision you make may feel more aligned, though not necessarily easier or more obvious. Even the smallest observation can ripple outward. Imagine watching ripples forming in a calm pool of water. The initial drop is quiet, almost unnoticed, yet the waves continue spreading, interacting with everything in their path. This is how awareness triggers responses, not with force, but with persistent, subtle influence. You might recognize this in daily life, often in moments that feel ordinary. A pause before speaking in a meeting may change the reaction you receive. A moment of silent attention towards someone else's expression may alter their behavior without a word being said. Observing your own thought patterns might shift how you approach decisions, sometimes in ways you don't consciously register. These examples are quiet and subtle, yet they are the fabric of how observation works in the world. They remind you that being present is not passive. Even in stillness, awareness creates small yet meaningful consequences. And yet, what is most intriguing is that this process is not linear. Responses to observation do not always follow expectation. Sometimes noticing something brings clarity. Other times, it surfaces complexity you weren't prepared for. This unpredictability is not a flaw. It is a characteristic of the system itself. Awareness interacts with patterns, both seen and unseen, and these patterns respond according to their own logic. Your role is simply to observe, to notice, to consider. In doing so, you participate without control, witnessing the unfolding without needing to guide it. This is why the response can feel unexpected, why the results can be subtle yet profound. Consider the broader patterns that govern attention and perception. When you focus on one detail, other details may emerge differently. The way people respond, the flow of events around you, even your own interpretations, shift quietly in response to your awareness. Over time, these subtle changes accumulate. You may begin to notice nuances in interactions, layers in your environment, or distinctions in your own thinking that were previously invisible. The process is gradual, almost imperceptible, but consistent. Each moment of noticing adds to the depth of understanding. Each pause in observation contributes to the subtle orchestration of response that surrounds you. Even now, as you watch or listen, awareness is operating. The act of observing these ideas changes how they resonate with you. You may find yourself reflecting differently, noticing connections you hadn't seen before. This does not happen because of instruction or persuasion. It happens because attention itself interacts with the patterns of experience. It is not about doing more, It is about noticing differently. And as you notice differently, responses emerge that were always possible, yet quietly waiting for recognition. It is important to allow space for observation without expectation. You are not looking to control, predict, or manipulate the responses that arise. You are simply noticing, considering, and witnessing. This creates a form of participation that is both gentle and powerful, because it respects the natural flow of interaction while still acknowledging the effect of attention. Even small acts of noticing have influence, though influence in this context is subtle, reflective, and ongoing. Awareness strikes not with force, but with persistence, shaping the landscape in ways that are not immediately visible. As you continue to engage with your environment, you may find patterns that repeat, moments that feel significant, or responses that appear unexpectedly. These are not exceptions, they are part of the underlying structure of awareness itself. Observing these patterns trains your perception, deepens understanding, and cultivates a sense of connection with the flow of events. The responses triggered by awareness are rarely loud or dramatic. They are quiet, intelligent, and often revealing, allowing you to see how interaction is always occurring, even when unnoticed. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Consider times when paying attention led to small yet meaningful changes. Perhaps a conversation unfolded differently when you were fully present. Perhaps your own reactions shifted when you noticed your own thoughts. These instances may have seemed trivial at the time, yet they demonstrate the principle clearly: observation creates response. It is not a force applied externally, it is an influence that emerges naturally, quietly, and consistently whenever awareness is directed. The more you practice noticing without expectation, the more apparent these responses become. You begin to recognize the ways in which subtle shifts in attention can ripple outward, touching interactions, thoughts, and patterns. This is not about mastery or control, it is about understanding the mechanics of observation. Awareness is neither passive nor aggressive, it is neutral, intelligent, and inherently participatory. When you notice this, the responses you see are reflections of a system that has always been in motion, quietly interacting with itself and with you. And so, as you continue to observe, you may notice the unexpected, the subtle, and the quiet influence that awareness exerts. There is no need for judgment, excitement, or fear. Simply consider what arises. Watch the responses unfold without interference. The process is gradual, reflective, and endlessly instructive. It is here, in the quiet interaction between awareness and experience, that understanding deepens and insight emerges. You might wonder what this means for daily life. How can these subtle responses inform the way you interact, the way you think, or the way you approach the world? The answer is not in action, but in observation itself. The response is always present, waiting to be seen, but it requires patience, attention, and reflection. By noticing without expectation, you allow the natural rhythm of interaction to emerge. This rhythm is subtle, intelligent, and deeply connected to the patterns of your environment. Before concluding, take a quiet moment to reflect on what has been shared. Consider the ways awareness has already influenced your experience and how noticing differently might reveal patterns you hadn't previously seen. Allow the ideas to settle without needing resolution. Ending unfolds gradually, in its own time, shaped by attention and observation rather than force or instruction. This is the essence of awareness, its ability to create response without coercion, to interact without controlling, and to reveal without dictating. If you find this perspective valuable, consider continuing the exploration here. Subscribing allows you to witness more patterns, more reflections, and more subtle insights into how observation shapes experience. There is no urgency, no expectation, simply the opportunity to explore alongside a steady, thoughtful perspective. You are invited to continue noticing, reflecting, and considering, trusting in the process and in the quiet, intelligent responses that arise naturally from awareness. And so, as this reflection draws to a close, allow yourself to sit with the ideas shared. Awareness continues, responses continue, and understanding deepens over time. There is no need to act, no need to conclude, only the ongoing practice of noticing. It is in this quiet observation that the patterns of response reveal themselves, patiently, subtly, and persistently. Awareness strikes, not as a force, but as a gentle, intelligent presence that quietly shapes the fabric of experience.